Biggest question right now is this: is Orhan Bey the truly begin prepared to rise as the founder of a new era, or is the series moving toward a rushed ending before his journey can fully begin? The latest update has created a lot of decision among fans. Episode 23 is now the next major turning point, and the atmosphere around the promo is this emotional and full of warning signs. One side, Orhan Bey is facing enemy why do not want to defeat him only on the battlefield. They want to break his name, weaken the supporter, and attack the trust that hold his world together. On the other side, the news that the series may end at episode 26 has made every new scene feel heavier. Suddenly, every dialogue feel like it could be part of the final road. Every betrayal feels more dangerous. Every emotional moment feel like it may be setting up a farewell. This is why episode 23 is not just another episode. It feels like the beginning of the final storm. Orhan Bey has already carried the weight of begin Osman Bey's son. But now the real burden is becoming clear. Begin, the son of the great leader, is not enough. Carry a famous bloodline is not enough. The people around him do not simply need a brave warrior. They need a man who can think like a state, move like a commander, forgive like a ruler, and strike like a storm when the moment demands it. It is the true test of Orhan Bey. His enemies are not only outside the tribe. Some dangers are hidden behind loyalty, behind smiles, behind political agreements, and behave. The world pretend to stand with him while secretly waiting for him to fall. The most interesting part of the current track is that Orhan is being pushed into a situation where every choice has a cost. In his show Mercury, his enemy may call him weak if he shows strength. The rival may can him cruel if he trusts too quickly. He can be trapped if he doubt everyone. He may lose the people who truly love him. This is the long lines of leadership. A normal man can make a mistake and pray for it alone, but leader mistake becomes the pain of an entire tribe. Orhan is learning this is the hardest way possible. The new episode seems to be building a strong conflict between open war and hidden politics. This is important because Kurulus Orhan cannot survive only through action scenes. The real power of the story comes when the sword and the mind move together. Orhan enemies understand that they cannot defeat the Turks only by standing soldiers. They must create fear, they must divide the people, they must make the tribe doubt its own future. They must make Orhan look inexperienced in front of elders, allies, and rivals. This is why the coming conflict feels bigger than one battlefield. It is a physiological war. In this phase, Orhan Bey is not just fighting for land, he is fighting for legitimacy. He must prove that he is not living under Osman Bey's shadow but walking forward with his own identity. This is the most emotional part of the journey. Every great son of a great father faces this battle. People compare him, people question him, some expect him to become exactly like his father, while others wait for him to fail because they believe no one can carry that legacy. But Orhan's destiny is not to copy Osman Bey. His destiny is to continue the drama in his own way. That is where the title Kurulus Orhan becomes meaningful. It is not only about the establishment of political power, it is about the establishment of Orhan himself. His mind, his leadership, his courage, and his vision must be established. before he can establish anything else. The new episode seemed to building a strong conflict between open war and hidden politicals. This is important because Brulus or Han cannot survive only through action scene. The real power of the story comes when the sword and the mind love move together. Orhan enemies understand that they cannot defeat the Turks only by sending soldiers. They must create fear. They must divide the people. They must make the tribe doubt its own future. They must make Orhan look inexperienced, alliances and rivals. This is why the coming conflict feels bigger than on one battlefield. It is a physiological war. In this phase, Orhan Bey is not just fighting for land, he is fighting for legitimacy. He must prove that he is not living under Osman Bey's shadow but walking forward with his own identity. This is the most emotional part of this journey. Every great son of a great father faces this battle. People compare him, people question him, some expect him to become exactly like his father, while others wait for him to fail because they believe no one can carry legacy. But Orhan destiny is not be copy Osman Bey. His destiny is not to continue the drama in his own way. That is where the title Kurus Orhan becomes meaningful. It is not only about the establishment of political power, it is about the establishment of Orhan himself. His mind, his leadership, his courage, and his vision must be established before he can establish anything else. A man who cannot command his own anger cannot command an army. A man who cannot recognize betrayal cannot protect a state. A man who cannot stand alone cannot lead people through darkness. Episode 23 seems ready to test all of these qualities. The reported possibilities of the series ending at 26 episodes also change the emotional temperature of the story. It is truly the final stretch. The writer must now bring every major conflict toward a powerful conclusion. That means Orhan enemies must become more aggressive, his allies must be tested more deeply, and this personal transformation must speed up. This can be risky because fans do not want a rushed ending. They want a satisfying rise. They want Orhan Bey to earn his place, not just receive it. Because the story is ending for a series like this, the ending must feel like a victory, not an interruption. In episode 26, the audience will likely watch Orhan face a trap that is not only physical but political. The enemy goals may not be simply to kill him. Sometimes the smarter move is to damage a leader's reputation first. If begin to doubt Orhan, then son his victorious can look smaller. If his enemies make him react emotionally, they can force him into a mistake. If they target someone close to him, they can turn his love into weakness. This is why the coming episode feels dangerous. The strongest attack may not come from front, it may come from the palace where Orhan least expect it. And this is where the supporting character become very important. In historical drama, the hero is never tested alone. The people around him reveal different parts of his character. Some will test his patience, some will test his loyalty, some will test his heart, some will force him to choose between justice and personal emotion. In Krulus Orhan, every color close relationship now has the potential to become a turning point. A friend can become a burden, a love can become a target, A rival can become useful, and a silent character can suddenly become the key to the entire game. The most powerful kind of betrayal is not when an enemy attacks you. That is expected. The real wound comes when someone who knows your plan, your weakness, and your emotional uses that knowledge against you. This is the danger surrounding Orhan. His enemies understand that the Turkish camp is not only protected by sword, it is protected by trust. Break the trust, and the strongest army become confused. Break the unity, and even brave men start looking at each other with suspicions. This is how state falls before they are fully born. Oran must therefore become more than a warrior. He must become a leader of people. He must learn when silence is more useful than anger. He must understand when to delay revenge and when to strike immediately. This is the difference between a young fighter and a ruler. A fighter reacts to insult, a ruler looks at the whole camp. A fighter wants to defeat the man in front of him, a ruler wants to defeat the plan behind that man. Episode 23 may show Orhan moving closer to this reveal of maturity. The beauty of this stage is that Orhan struggle feels personal and political at the same time. He is not only defending border, he is defending a dream inherited from Osman Bey, but inheritance can be heavy. A dream that look glorious from outside can feel like fire when you are one carrying it. Everyone sees the title. Few understand the sleepless tonight behind it. Everyone hears the Osman Orhan Bey. Few understand the fear of making one world decision and destroying what generation built with blood. This is why the emotional heart of the script should focus on Orhan's inner conflict. They may appear strong in front of his soldiers, but inside the news that the road ahead is full of traps. He knows some people follow him because they believe in him, while others follow him only because they fear the power of his family. He knows the enemy is watching every move. He knows that if he falls, may people will not simply mourn him, they will use his fall to bury Osman Bey. Dream that pressure can either destroy a man or turn him into a leader. The enemy side also need to be understood properly. A weak villain only acts. A strong villain understands timing. The enemies of Orhan will not waste their energy by fighting him where he is strongest. They will search for cracks. They will target alliances. They will spread rumors. They will use prisoners, marriages, trade routes, religious influence, and all relapses. They will try to make every decision painful. If Orhan moves toward only ally, another may feel ignored. If he punishes one traitor, another hidden traitors may become more careful. If he trusts someone, that trust may become the door through which disaster enters. This is the kind of pressure that makes historical drama exciting. The battlefield is only one part of the story. The story drama begins before the battle, when everyone are pretending, navigating, laying and waiting. The sword is drawn only after the mind is already chosen the direction of war. In Krulus Orhan's latest phase, his political tension must become sharper. The audience wants to feel that every conversation matters. A glance should carry meaning. A promise should feel dangerous. A silence should make the wearer suspicious. In episode 23 is leading toward the final episode. Then Orhan must now receive one of his greatest wound. Now necessity is a physical wound, but a wound that change how the sees the world. May great leader become stronger after betrayal because betrayal removed their innocence. Before betrayal, a man believed loyalty can be understood through words. After betrayal, that learned loyalty is proven only under pressure. Orhan must reach that point. He must stop expecting the world to be fair. He must understand that justice does not survive by itself. Justice needs power, strategy, patience, and sacrifice. This is also a strong possibility that the story will use episode 23 is insulate Orhan emotionally. Insulation is a classic turning point for a hero. When everyone is around him, he is advice, comfort, and protection. But when he is alone, his true character appears. Does he panic? Does he become a cruel? Does he give up? Or does he become calmer, sharper, and more dangerous? This is the Orhan fan want to see, not a perfect man, but a man who becomes stronger each time the world tries to break him. The series must also be careful with reputation. Her fans has already seen many historical drama where enemies kidnap someone, set a trap, betray an agreement, when prepare for battle to make Rulus Orhan feel fresh. The writing need a different emotional angle. Instead of showing only another trap, the story would show how Orhan learned from the trap. Instead of showing only another betrayal, it should reveal how betrayal changed the political structure around him. Instead of repeating old patterns, the series should show Orhan becoming a leader whose decisions feel different from Osman Bey, but still connected to the same drama. This is where the final 4 episodes, if the 26th episode ending report becomes true, can become powerful. Episode 23 can be the wound. Episode 24 can be the response. Episode 25 can be the great confrontation. Episode 26 can be the transformations, where Orhan no longer looks like a man trying to prove himself but a ruler who has finally accepted the burden of history. That kind of structure would give the story emotional weight. It would allow fans to feel that even if his series and early Orhan journey still reached a meaningful point. The most important thing is that Orhan's rise must not feel accidental. He could not win because the enemy because foolish. He should win because he understands something others do not. He should seize the trap inside the trap. He should turn the enemy plan against them. He should use patience when everyone expects anger. He should strike when everyone thinks he is concerned. That is the kind of leader who can build a future. A strong episode 23 would begin with tension already in the air. The tribe should feel unsettled. People should be whispering. Scouts should bring unclear information. Allies should arrive with half-truth. Enemies should appear confident, almost too confident. Orhan should sense that something is wrong, but not yet knows where the danger is hidden. This creates suspense. The audience feels that the storm has not started, but the sky has already changed color. Then the episode should tighten the glare around him. One problem become two. Political messages arrive. A prisoner reveals something suspicious. A turned power person make a strange mistake. A tribe tries to provoke him. Someone close to him because Venerable Orhan is forced to move before he has all the information. This is where his leadership is tested. Does he rush toward with emotion, or does he pause long enough to see the enemy real intention? The emotional center of the episode should be a moment where Orhan realizes that his enemies are not only attacking his body or his army, they are attacking his destiny. They want him to believe he is not ready. They want his followers to believe the same. They want history to stop before it begins, and is that moment. Orhan must choose whether he will continue react like a young boy or begin to command like a future sultan. The dialogue in such a scene should be sharp but not repetitive. Orhan does not need long speeches every time. Sometimes only calm sentence can be stronger than shouting. The audience should feel is his silence. He should not need to prove his anger. His control should become more frightening than his rage. That is the evolution viewers are waiting for. When a hero becomes quiet in the face of danger, the audience understands that something inside him has changed. The woman in the story can also play an important role in the face. In historical drama, women should not be used only for emotional suffering. They can carry intelligence, strategy, loyalty, and political awareness. A strong female character can notice what warrior miss. She can understand the language of fear, jealousy, and ambition inside the palace of tribe. She can warm Orhan, challenge him, or even save him from a mistake. If his series uses these characters well, episode 23 can become much richer. The enemy may also try to use emotion and weapon. They may target family honor, tribal loyalty, or religious identity. They may create a situation where Orhan's personal feeling clash with political necessity. This is the hardest kind of leadership test. It is easy to make decisions when the enemy is clearly evil and the path is clearly right. It is much harder when every option hurts someone. That is where Orhan's maturity must be shown. Imagine Orhan standing before his people, knowing that some of them are afraid, some are angry, and some are secretly doubting him. In that moment, he cannot simply promise victory. Promises are easy. He must give them belief. He must make them feel that even if the road becomes dark, there is a path ahead. This is leadership, not removing fear, but giving people enough faith to walk through it. The visual tone of episode 23 should also reflect this change. The camp should not feel peaceful, fire should burn lower, faces should look tight, armor should feel heavier, horses should move like they sense danger. The enemy's faces would feel colder, more controlled, more calculated. The contrast between Orhan world and the enemy's world should have show two different visions of power. One side want to build through faith, loyalty and sacrifice. The other want to dominate through fear, manipulation and division. But Orhan's side is not perfect, and that is what make it interesting. A perfect camp is boring. Real power struggle happen when good people disagree, when loyal people make mistake, when old wound defecting the enemy outside, the preventing weakness inside from becoming a weapon in the enemy hand. This is why episode 23 could become the real beginning of Orhan political awakening. Until now he may have understood war, but now he must understand statecraft. A state is not built only with victories, it is built with justice, that people trust punishment, that people respect mercy, that people do not exploit, and a license that can survive storm. Orhan must learn all of this quickly, because his enemy will not wait for him to grow slowly. The reported final episode number also create one more challenge. The story must balance speed with depth. If the series is truly moving toward episode 26 as the ending, every scene must serve a purpose. No filler, no repeated argument, no necessary delay. Every scene should either reveal character, increase danger, change relationship, or move Orhan closer to the final transformation. Fan can forgive a short season if the ending feels strong. They will not forgive waste him when the final road is already visible. This is why the next episode must feel like a turning point, not just a step up. It should give viewers a clear sense that the story has entered its final fact. Something must happen that cannot be undone. A betrayal must be exposed. A major enemy plan must success. Particularly a close relationship must break or become stronger. Orhan must make a decision that change how others see him. Without such a movement, episode 23 may feel like another bridge episode, and this is stage the audience. Without such a moment, episode 23 may feel like another bridge episode, and this is stage the audience need more than that. For a powerful YouTube analysis, we can say this: Oran Bay is standing at the door of history, but history is not opening the door gently. It is testing whether the deserve to enter. His enemies are gathering, his allies are uncurtained, and his shadow of Osman Bey legacy still stand behind him. But the most important battle is not between Oran and his enemies, it is between Oran and the version of himself that is still learning how to become a ruler. This is the heart of Clueless Orhan. Right now, the series is not only asking whether Orhan can win, it is asking what kind of man he will become after winning? Will he remain only a brave son of Osman Bey, or will he become the Orhan Bey whose name can stand on its own? Will he react to every trap, or will he start building trap of his own? Will he carry the drama as burden, as he will turn it into a system, a state, and a future? Episode 23 may answer the first part of that question. At is this final episode really some at episode 26? Then this next chapter must show Orhan transform with full force. The audience needs to see him lose something or rise, and with a new kind of authority, not the authority of a man who simply inherited power, but the authority of a man who paid for it through pain, patience, and sacrifice. So, the coming episode is important for three reasons. First, it continues the immediate conflict and show how Orhan responds to new danger. Second, it prepares the emotional and political direction for the final episode. Third, it may decide whether has remember Kurulus Orhan has a rush story of or a short but powerful chapter in the large Osman saga. The difference will depend on how strongly the winter writer handle Orhan growth from this point onward. And this is why the excitement is mixed with concern. Fan wants action, but they also want meaning. They want battle, but they also want emotional depth. They want Orhan to be strong, but they also want to see why he becomes strong. A hero who is powerful from the beginning is entering for a moment. A hero will become powerful through suffering stay in the audience memory for years. The best path of Kurulus Orhan now is clear. Make episode 23 painful, make episode 24 strategic, make episode 25 exclusive, make episode 26 unforgettable. Let Orhan face betrayal, but do not let betrayal define him. Let him suffer, but do not let suffering weaken him. Let him stand alone, but then shadow why people choose to stand behind him. That is who our leader is born on screen. In the end, Kurulus Orhan latest update give us a story full of tension. The new episode is coming, the final rumors are growing stronger, and the future of the series feel uncertain, but inside the uncertainty, there is also opportunity. If the writer use this final stretch correctly, they can turn Orhan Bey's journey into something intense, emotional, and memorable. Not just another historical drama ending, but a final rise. Because Orhan's real victory will not be only defeating the enemies, his real victory will be proving that the dream did not end with Osman Bey. It changed hands, it changed from, it entered a new generation, and now through blood, betrayal, patience, and courage, that dream is waiting to become something greater. This is where episode 23 must take us into the storm, into the trap, into the moment where Orhan Bey stopped being only the heir of a great legacy and begin to become the master of his own destiny. When the enemy stop fighting the sword and start fighting the name, the real danger of Osman Bey is no longer just the enemy standing in front of him with a sword. That kind of enemy is easy to understand. A soldier who comes with steel in his hand has already declared his intention. A commander who marches with banners has already shown his face. A traitor who strikes in the open has already chosen his side. But the most dangerous enemy in Kurulus Orhan's latest phase is not the man who attacks from the front, it is the one who studies on Orhan hurt, his weakness, his loyalty, his anger, his father's shadow, and built a trap not for his body, for his name. This is where episode 23 become important. The theater atmosphere gives the feeling that the coming episode will not simply be about another battlefield confrontation, It feels like a challenge thrown at Orhan's identity. The enemy does not want to prove only that Orhan can be defeated. They want to prove make that Orhan is not ready. They want to make his people doubt his judgment. They want to make his allies hesitate before supporting him. They want his enemies to laugh and his friends to whisper. Because when a leader's name becomes doubtful, even his strongest command begin to lose weight. That is the real war now. Orhan Bey is being dragged into a fight where every step is watched, every mistake is magnified, and every emotional reaction can be used against him. If he becomes angry, they will say he is reckless. If he remains patient, they will say he is afraid. If he punishes betrayal, they will call him harsh. If he forgives, they will call him his weak. The trap is not only the forest, the castle, or the battlefield. The trap it is in the meaning people attach to his action. This is why the story now need to show Orhan beyond the immediate threat. A young warrior want to answer every insult. A ruler understand the sometimes the insult it pays. A young warrior want to run toward every cry for help. A ruler knows that some cries and designed to put him away from the real danger. A young warrior see enemies, a ruler see partners, and it Kurus Orhan want to make his final stretch powerful. Episode 23 must show Orhan beginning to understand the pattern behind the enemy moves. The word attached to the latest promo, especially the idea that a Turk will not accept capacity and what he war will be. Answer Vikar create a strong emotional fire. But fire alone is not enough. Fire can burn the enemy, but it also can behind the wall who can carries it. Orhan challenges it is run fire into strategy. He must not only be brave, he must be controlled. He must not only refuse humiliation, he must decide how to turn humiliation into a weapon against those who created it. That is the level of leadership and audience wants to see. The enemy understand pride, they understand honor, they understand that Orhan comes from a bloodline where surrender is not just a military loss but a spiritual wound, so they will try to create situation where pride pushes him into haste. They may threaten patience, they may insult his tribe, they may use the memory of Osman Bear to provoke him, they may make him feel that passion it feel itself it's shameful, but his own bear Orhan must become dangerous in a new way. He must learn that patience is not surrender. Silence is not fear, waiting is not weakness, sometimes waiting is not sharpest blade. This is the difference between a commander who wins a battle and a ruler who builds future. A commander may win the courage alone, a ruler must win by courage, timing, perceptions, and control. Orhan enemy are trying to force him to attack like a commander when history is asking to becoming a rule. That is the inner conflict of this base. He knows how to fight, he knows how to ride into danger. He knows how to stand before armed men without fear. But does he know how to survive suspicious? Does he know how to make the right decision when every road has blood on it? The strongest part of the stage should be Orhan lone lines. Not lone lines is the simple sense of being physically alone, but lone lines is the deeper sense of leadership. Even when people stand around him, he alone carries the final responsibility. Advisor can speak, warrior can shout, family can warm, alliance can promise, but when the decision comes, the burden is him. If he chooses wrongly, people will not blame the bad advice, they will blame the leader. If victory comes, everyone will celebrate. If disaster comes, history will remember his name. This is why Orhan's face in the coming episode should carry more weight. The audience must feel that he is against emotionally, even if only a few days have passed in the story. His eyes should show less innocence and more calculation. His anger should become quieter. His words should become fewer but heavier. He should no longer need to prove his courage every moment. The truly dangerous leader is not the one who shouts before drawing his sword. It is the one whose silence makes the enemy nervous. A powerful direction of section 2 of this story. It is how sure that Orhan enemies have learned from their previous failure. They know that simple attack will not be enough. They know that if they charge directly, Orhan can defeat them with the strength of his barrier. So they arm from the visible structure behind his power. They at trust, they aim at reputation, they aim at the emotional ties between tribe members. They aim at the fragile alliances that hold the Turkish world together. They do not need to destroy Iran army is one night. They only need to make the army question its leader. One doubt enter our camp if spread faster than fire. One man asks why Orhan delayed. Another asks why Orhan trusted the wrong person. A third remember an old disagreement. A fourth begin to think that another way he may handle the crisis better. This is how enemies without fighting. They do not need to break the gate if they can make the guard open it from inside. They do not need to kill loyalty if they can poison it slowly. Orhan must recognize this poison before it becomes fatal. And this recognition should be the emotional turning point of the section. He should understand that the enemy is not only trying to hurt him, they are trying to change how his people see him. This realization must hurt because it means the battlefield has moved into the heart of his own world. He cannot simply ride out and crush it. He has to heal, expose, command, and rebuild trust at the same time. That is where the script becomes more mature. Instead of repeating the same cycle of attack, recuse, revenge, and victory, the story can show a more layered conflict. Orhan may receive news of a captured Turk, but the misuse path may be too obvious. He may hear of a betrayal, but the accused person may only be a pawn. He may be pushed toward war, but war may be exactly what the enemy want. In such a situation, the hero's strength is not measured by how fast he moves. It is measured by whether he can see the hidden hand behind the visible event. The strongest dramatic moment would be one where Orhan refuses to behave the way everyone expects. His enemies expect revenge. His allies expect immediate revenge. The tribe accepts a declaration, but Orhan pauses, not because he is afraid, but because he sees something wrong. This pause can create tension. Some people may misunderstand him. Some may accuse him for hesitation, but the audience will feel that Orhan has begun to think like a state. He no longer fights only the man in front of him, he fights the plan behind the man. The kind of transformation is essential if he carries series is truly moving toward a final. At episode 26, the worry do not have unlimited time to slowly build Oran political intelligence. They must show it now through action, not through long explanation, but through choices. Let him notice a detail other miss. Let him question a message that seems simple. Let him protect a suspected person until the real dictator exposes himself. Let him sacrifice a small victory to prevent a greater disaster. This is how to audience understand growth. And the growth should not make him emotionless or harm would still feel rage, love, pain and pride. But now the must learn not be become a servant of those emotional. The difference between a young bey and a future sultan is not that one feel and the other does not. The difference is what the future sultan knows when the hide what he feel. He knows when he tears must remain private. He knows when his anger must become plain instead of a shout. He knows where revenge must wait because judge may be stronger than impulse. In this section, the enemy physiological warfare can become the main force. They may spread the idea that Orhan cannot protect his people. They may claim that his father era was stronger. They may say that the tribe is becoming weaker under younger leadership. This kind of attack is cruel because it touches Orhan's deepest wound. The fear began measured against Osman Bey and found lacking. Every son of a king must face his fear. To the world begin born into greatness look like privilege. To the one carry the name, it can feel like a mountain palace on the chest. Orhan victory over his fear must be come through denial. He should not say that Osman Bey shadow does not exist. It does exist. It is part of life, his destiny, his burden and his strength. The real victory is when Orhan stopped trying to escape the shadow and learned how to walk forward for him. He does not need to become Osman Bey again. History does not need a copy, it needs continuation, it needs a new hand for the same dream. It needs Orhan to become himself. This is why his enemies fail to understand him. They think the father legacy will crush the son. They think comparison will weaken him. They think doubt will make the desperate, but it Orhan it written correctly. Doubt become the first that harden him. Every insult make him more aware. Every trap teaches him a new language of power. Every betrayal removes another layer of innocence. He does not become colder for no reason. He becomes sharper because history gives him no other choice. The sporting character should feel the impact of his change. Some may be proud of him, some may be afraid because a claimer Orhan is harder to influence. Some may miss the more open, emotional version of him. Some may realize that the boy they thought they knew is despairing and a ruler is emerging in his place. This creates emotional tension. Leadership does not only change the leadership, it changes every relationship around him. People who loved him as a son, brother, or friend must now learn to stand before him as a boy. That transition can be painful. A family member may accept personal softness and receive political fairness. A loyal warrior may accept immediate action and receive a delay command. An elder may accept to guide him and discover that Orhan has begun making decisions without seeking approval. This is not arrogance. If written properly, it is the natural cost of becoming the center of authority. A ruler who always waits for permission is not a ruler. A ruler who never listens in a triumph. Orhan must learn the balance between the two. Episode 23 Greatest opportunity is to show this balance under pressure. The enemy may create a crisis that divides the council. Some demand rescue, some demand navigation, some demand revenge, some warm of a trap. The room becomes heavy with fear and pride. Everyone speaks from their own angle. Then Orhan listens. He does not interrupt, he does not explode. He allows the voices to reveal not only opinion but hidden loyalties, and then he makes a decision that surprises everyone. This is how a great sense is built, not with noise but with pressure. The audience should feel that whatever Orhan decides, someone will be unhappy. This is real leadership. Simple choices do not reveal character. Impossible choices do. If he saves one person, he may anger many. If he protects the tribe, he may sacrifice someone close. If he waits, he may lose trust. If he moves, he may lose control. In a such moment, the viewers lean forward because they are not watching action. They are watching destiny begin shape. The enemy arguments can also become their weakness because they may believe that Orhan's youth make him predictable. They may accept him to rush into the open. They may build their entire plan around his emotional response. But when Orhan refuses to move, they wait, they expect. The trap begin to weakness. This is a satisfying form of victory because it does not depend only on sword fighting. It shows that Orhan has learned how to defeat the enemy before the battle even begins. A strong mid-section scene could show Orhan sending one group openly while moving another force secretly. The enemy watch the visible movement and believe the plan is working, but Orhan has already understood that the visible road is bait. He uses the enemy confidence against them. This gives the audience the pressure of seeing the hero outthink the villain, and more importantly, it proves that Orhan is no longer reacting. He is directing. This does not mean everything should go perfectly. In fact, the story becomes stronger if Orhan wins one part but loses another. Maybe he saved the captive but discovered the rescue was meant to expose another location. Maybe he caught one traitor but realized a great traitor will remain hidden. Maybe he prevent two massacre but loses an important alliance. This keeps the tension alive. A flawless hero becomes boring. A hero who pays a price for every gain feels real. The emotional price matters most after the crisis. Orhan should not celebrate too easily. He should look at the cost. He should understand that every decision leaves scare even when it is correct. This is another mark of maturity. A foolish leader enjoys victory without counting the dead. A true leader carries the debt into every future decision. Orion's strength should not make him insensitive, it should make him more aware of the value of each life placed under his command. The women, elder, and warriors around him can each reflect a different reaction to his growth. One may tell him that he has become harder, another he says that he has finally become what the time requires. Someone close to him may feel distance for him because leadership is taking pieces of his old self away. This emotional distance can be more painful than physical wound. The higher Orion rises, the fewer people can speak to him freely. This is the long lines of the throne before the throne even exists. In terms of narration, this section should sound like an analysis of a man being transformed by pressure. The tone should be serious, cinematic, and emotionally sharp. It should not simply describe event, it should interpret what those events mean. A YouTube audience does not only want a escape, they want to feel that the story has depth. They want to understand why a scene matters, why a betrayal hurt, why a silence is powerful, and why Orhan's next decision may define the entire ending. That is why this part of script should repeat one central idea in different form without sounding repetitive. The enemy is not fighting Orhan's word anymore. They are fighting his legitimacy. They are trying to decide the meaning of his name before he can define it himself. If they can make people believe he is weak, then even his strength becomes suspicious. If they can make people believe he is reckless, then even his courage becomes dangerous. If they can make people believe he is only Osman's son, then his own identity never fully rises. Orhan must take control of that, meaning he must show through action that his name is not borrowed, it is learned. He must prove that the legacy did not pass to an empty hand. He must demonstrate that Osman were dream, he not weakness. It has changed shape, that his change is important. Every generation cannot fight in exactly the same way. The enemies change, the political change, the alliances change, and the weapon of power change. Oran greatness will not come from copying the past, it will come from understanding the past and then building the next step. The action should close with a sense of rising pressure. Orhan may defeat the first layer of the trap, but the audience should feel that the real storm is still ahead. The enemy has tested him, Orhan has answered, but now both sides understand something new. The enemy understands that Orhan is not as easy to manipulate as they hoped. Orhan understands that the enemy is willing to attack not only his army. The conflict becomes more dangerous because both sides are now learning. After that is what makes the road of episode 26. If the reported final plan remains true, so intense there is no time for slow moment. Every episode must now cut deeper. Every enemy must move, reveal more. Every Orhan decision must carry final session weight. The audience must feel that the story is not winding, it is tightening like a road around destiny. Episode 23 can be the moment Orhan stopped beside, begin tested like a young there and begin stop tested like a young hare and begin answering like a ruler who knows history is watching. The ending of the section should have the viewers with a clear thought. Orhan's greatest battle is not whether he can defeat enemies outside the camp. The real question is whether he cannot protect the meaning of his leadership before his enemies rewrite it, because it in the world of Krulus Orhan, a sword can kill a man, but a poisoned reputation can kill a future. And Orhan Bey is now fighting for that future with every breath, every silence, every command, and every sacrifice. The betrayal inside the circle, every great state is threatened twice, first by the enemies outside its border and then the weakness outside its own circle. The outside enemy can burn tent, capture toward and attack castle, but the inside weakness can do something forwards. It can make border suspect each other. It can turn loyalty into hesitation. It can make brave men wait for another man to move first. It can make the people ask whether the dream they followed is still safe in the hand of their leader. This is the kind of danger that now surrounding Orhan Bey. In the next phase of Krulus Orhan, betrayal must not be treated like a simple surprise. It should feel like a sickness that has been growing quietly for a long time, and betrayal that appears suddenly may shock the audience. But a betrayal that slowly reveals itself creates deeper fear. The viewer begins to look back at earlier scenes and wonder whether a smile was false, whether a warning was planted, whether a mistake was really a mistake. That is the power of internal betrayal. It changed the meaning of the past. Orhan admits now that the easiest way to weaken him to place a question mark beside the people closest to him. If he cannot trust his own circle, how can he command an army? If he doubt army messages, how can be move quickly? If he watch his allies more than his enemies, how can he prepare for war? This is why betrayal is not only a personal wound, it is a military weapon. It shows decision, it divides attentions, it makes the leader depend his energy, cleaning the house while the enemy prepare outside. The smartest village do not always need to buy the most powerful person. Sometimes they only need to influence the most insecure one. A proud warrior a proud warrior can feel ignored. An older who believed his advice is no longer respected. A relative who thinks power should have passed another way. A servant into hired more than people realize. A messenger whose loyalty can be bent through fear. A small crack in enough if the enemy was where to press, and in a world where honor is everything, even a small betrayal can create a wound that bleeds through the whole tribe. This is where Orhan must become more dangerous emotionally. He cannot afford to be naive. But he also cannot afford to become paranoid. If he trusts everyone, he will be betrayed. If he trusts no one, he will destroy his own camp from inside. This balance is one of the hardest parts of the relationship. A suspicious man sees enemies even among friends. A careless man sees friends even among enemies. A ruler must see clearly, and clarity is painful because it forces him to accept that loyalty is not always where love is, and betrayal is not always where anger is. The dramatic beauty of this section is that Orhan's personal relationship can become political test. Someone he loved may be connected to a mistake. Someone he doubted may prove loyal. Someone who seems harmless and may hold the key to the enemy plan. Someone loud may be innocent while someone quiet may be dangerous. This kind of writing keeps the audience engaged because it refuses to make the word simple. And Krulus Orhan needs that complexity now, especially if the series is approaching its final episode. The betrayal inside the circle should begin with small sign. Our messages arrive too late. A guard is missing from his post. A secret route becomes known to the enemy. An argument happens at the wrong time and Ali appears where he should not be. A precious no information we should never have learned. No single detail prove anything, but together they create a pattern. Orhan sees his pattern before others do not, but he cannot speak openly yet. If he excuses too early, the real traitor will hide deeper. If the wait too long, more. The dramatic beauty of the section is that Orhan's personal relationship can become political state. Someone he loves may be connected to a mistake. Someone he doubts may prove loyal. Someone he knows harmless may hold the enemy plan. Someone loud may be innocent while someone quiet may be dangerous. This kind of writing keeps the audience engaged because it refuses to Orhan simple. And Krulus Orhan need the complexity now, especially if the series is approaching that final episode. The betrayal inside the circle should begin. The small begin. Our messages arrive too late. A guard is missing from his pass. A secret route become known to the enemy. An argument happen at the wrong time. At any appear where he should not be. A precious no information he should never have learned. No single detail prove anything, but together they create a pattern. Orhan see his pattern before others do, but they cannot speak openly yet. If he accuses too early, the real traitor will hide deeper. If he waits too long, more blood may be spilling. This is the kind of pressure that can make episode 24 or the next major chapter feel intense. The enemy outside is preparing war, but inside the camp there is a quiet war of observation. Orhan must watch faces. He must listen to the spaces between worlds. He must study who benefit from confusion. He must notice who pushes him toward danger, anger, and who pushes him toward patience. The real traitors may not be the person holding the knife, it may be person directing emotion so that someone else strike. A powerful scene would be Orhan sitting his council with everyone speak about the enemy latest move, the warrior demand action, the leader debate old alliances. Some argue that delay will create shame. Others warn that haste will lead to disaster. On the surface, it is a normal counsel, but Orhan is not only listening to the advice, he is listening to the intention behind it. Who want him to move toward the obvious trap, who keep repeating the same argument, who look uncomfortable when a content remain it mentioned, who is too eager to prove loyalty. That is how a leader become a hunter of hidden truth, not by shout but by allowing people to reveal themselves. The traitors often silence more than accusations. When no one accuses him, the wonder whether the leader knows. When the leader remains calm, he becomes restless. When the leader changes the plan without explaining why, the traitor is forced to react. Orhan can use this tension as a weapon. He can create a false opening, allow the traitors to believe he can succeed and then close the net. This would be a strong way to show Orhan growth. Instead of simply discovering betrayal through luck, he should expose it through intelligence. Maybe he sent two different messages to two different suspected people, each containing different false details. When the enemy acts one version, Orhan knows which path lead. This kind of strategy would make the audience respect him as a political mind. It would also show that he has moved beyond emotional reaction into calculated leadership. But betrayal should still hurt. Strategy does not urge pain, but the traitor is finally revealed. Orhan should not look victorious immediately. He should feel the wonder if the person was once trusted, then exposing him is not only a success, it is a lose. A ruler can punish betrayal, but cannot always remove the memory of trust. That memory becomes a scar, and scars are important because they explain why later because harder over time. The traitor's motivation should not be flat. A simple, greedy creator is easy to hate but quickly to forgotten. A stronger betrayal comes from a person who believes he has a reason. Maybe he thinks Orhan is too young. Maybe he believes the tribe will be destroyed under Orhan leadership. Maybe he feels Osman Bey's legacy has been misused. Maybe he is jealous. Maybe he is threatened. Maybe he wanted power but convinced himself it was for the good for the people. This complexity does not excuse betrayal, but it makes the scene more memorable. When Orhan confronts such a person, the dialogue should not be ordinary. It should not be only "You betrayed us and I hope no choice." The scenes should explore the emotional meaning of betrayal. Orhan can say in scenes that an enemy who stands outside the gate is cleaner than a friend who opens the gate from within. He can explain that fear is understandable, disagreement is acceptable, but selling the trust of the people unforgivable. The traitor can argue that Orhan dream would have killed them all. Orhan can answer that people who sell their future to survive one night he already began dying. The kind of confrontation give the story depth. It is not only punishment, it is ideology. What is survival worth? Its honor is lost. This is loyalty worth of it disappearing under pressure. What is leadership worth it? Every frightening man can decide the future of a tribe. These questions fit the world of Krulus or Han. They make the betrayal more than a plot twist. They make it a test of values. The tribe reactions is also important. When betrayal is exposed, people do not instantly become calm, or some feel shame because they trusted the wrong person. Some feel anger because their safety was called. Some feel fear because they wonder whether more traitors remain. Some may even pity the traitor if the motivation involves fear of family. Or harm must manage all of these emotions. This is another form of leadership, meaning truth is one step. Restoring unity after truth is harder. A weak leader uses betrayal to create endless fear. A strong leader uses the exposure of betrayal to build order. Orhan must show that justice will be done, but they must also prevent the camp from turning into a place of suspicion. He can make it clear that one traitor does not define the whole tribe. He can remind people that trust he must become wiser, not dead. This is a beautiful leadership message because it's show maturity. If betrayal makes Orhan trust no one, then the enemy still wins. If betrayal makes him trust better, then he wins. The enemy outside may accept the betrayal to weaken the camp. Instead, Orhan can turn it into a movement of purification. He can expose the hidden weakness pushed is and then speak to the people not as a wounded man, but of a ruler who understands what has happened. He can say that the enemy through the tribe would collapse when the traitors was revealed, but the forgot that a wound can either poison the body or be cut clean before it spread. In this way, the betrayal becomes painful but necessary. The action should also explore how Orhan enemies respond when their inside plan fails. These arguments become anger. The realize that Orhan is no longer easy to read. The young bear that tried to provoke is becoming a calculating force. This forces the enemy to escalate. At escalations is important because it prepares the final episode. If betrayal fails, the enemy may move toward open war. It manipulation does not destroy or harm. They may try to physically remove him. If decision does not work, they may attempt a grand strike mean to end the conflict quickly. The pacing should feel like a tightening chain. Section 2 showed the attack on Orhan name. Section 3 revealed the attack inside the circle. The next logical step is that Orhan, having survived the invisible war, must now answer with a visible move. But before that, the story should allow him a moment of personal reflection. A leader who never reflects becomes mechanical. Orhan should have a private scene where he absorbs the cost of betrayal. Maybe he stands alone near a fire. Maybe he visits a grave may be the he remember Osman Bey teaching, maybe he speaks softly to someone who knows his pain. In that private moment, the audience sees the human beneath the title. Orhan can admit, not publicly but privately, that betrayal from an enemy would have been easier. He can say that when enemies strike, the heart is ready, but when trusted people strike, heart learn a new kind of silence. This kind of a line gives emotional weight. It makes viewers feel that leadership is not just glory and command. It is swelling pain so others can keep standing. The woman is the story can be especially powerful is the intersection. A strong female character may understand the betrayal before the man do because she noticed change in behavior, tone, and domestic spaces. She may warm or harm not be battlefield evidence but with emotional intelligence in May historical drama information travels through spaces warrior ignores kitchens, rooms, healing tents, family conversations and quiet corner. Betrayal can enrich innocent people. A third may the personally connected to the traitors and forced to choose between blood and justice. These emotional layers make betrayal more complex. They show that political decisions are never only political. The truth past families, marriages, friendship, and memories. This section can also include the idea that betrayal reveals into true loyalty. When everything is easy, everyone comes to stand with the leader. But when danger comes, loyalty separates itself from convenience. From some people remain because they believe, some leave because they were only closing. Following strength, some switch side by side because fear is strongest than honor is them. Orhan must learn to see that difference. A betrayal inside the circle hurt him, but it also knows him who is truly his. This is an important step toward his final transformation. A ruler cannot build while people who only love victory. He needs people who remain during uncertainty. He needs those who can disagree honesty without selling secret. He needs those who can face fear without becoming tools of the enemy. After this betrayal, Orhan's circle may become smaller but stronger. This is often how real leadership work. Growth sometimes looks like loss because false spot falls away. The audience should feel that Orhan is now becoming more selective. His truth is no longer cheap. His silence has meaning. His smile, it is appear, carries sadness behind it. He is not broken, but he is changed. The betrayal has taught him that a state cannot be built on emotion alone. It needs system, discipline, accountability, and a clear chain of loyalty. This is where the story can move from tribe drama towards state building drama. That transactions is essential of Kurulus Orhan. This is show is about Orhan rise when it must show the birth of political order. Not only heroic raids, not only revenge, not only emotional speeches, it must show how a leader begin to think about institutions, justice, security, intelligence, and laws. Betrayal can become the event that pushes Orhan toward this realization. He understands that bravery protects the camp for one night, but order protects the people of generation. A strong section Ending bold show Orhan turning the betrayal into a new command structure. He recognized messengers. He changed how information moved. He signed people as obsessed not only to closeness but proven reliability. He created consequence for negligence. Some may complain that the old way are changing. Orhan can answer that the dream is growing and what grow must also become stronger in form. This is a powerful moment because it showed that the betrayal did not only hurt him, it forced to him. The enemy may think they planted betrayal to destroy unity. Instead, Orhan uses the pain to create a more disciplined future. This is the kind of reversal that gives the hero authority. He does not simply survive the enemy plan, that he transforms it into a foundation stone. He varies attack moment to weaken the leadership becomes the event that prove why the must lead. At the section close, the audience should understand that Orhan has crossed another invisible line. Before he wanted to protect the tribe, now he understands he must shape it. Before he stand to answer enemies, now he understands he must prevent enemies from reaching the heart of his people. Before he believed loyalty was a feeling, now he knows loyalty it is a structure tested by pressure. And this is why the betrayal inside the circle become one of the most important part of the final journey. It stripes will illusions, it forces Orhan to see the cost of power. It teaches him that enemies do not always arrive with banners. Sometimes they arrive as advice, sometimes they arrive as fear, sometimes they arrive as friendship, and sometimes they have been sitting beside the file or along. By the end of section, Orhan should no longer to the same man who entered episode 23. He has faced the attack on him. He has discovered the poison inside his circle. He has felt the pain of betrayal and rejected the temptation to let that pain turn him into a blind tyrant. Now he is ready for the next phase. No defense, no reaction, no survival, but a calculated answer that tells every enemy one tied. Clearly, Orhan Bey he learned the game, and from now on he will not only fight where placed before him, he will choose him ground, set the rhythm, and force him enemies to walk into the storm he created. Orhan Bey contract, contract attack and the birth of a ruler. There comes a point in every heroic journey when defense is no longer enough. A leader can survive trap, expose betrayal, and protect his people. But if he remains only reactive, the enemy still controls the shape of the war. The enemy decides when fear begins. The enemy decides where when the next wound open. The enemy decides which road become dangerous. At some point, the leader must take the rhythm back. This is the moment Orhan may must reach him after the attack on him. He cannot continue only answering, he must begin directing. This section should open with a different kind of Orhan, not louder, not more reckless, not suddenly invisible, but more focused. The pain of betrayal has settled into inside him like iron. His face is clamor, But the claim is not peace. It is control. People around him may notice that he speaks less when others argue. He watches when enemies stand threat. He does not immediately respond when alliances ask when he plans to do. He gives only what they need to know. This is not secretly for its own sake. It is the beginning of state mind. A ruler cannot share every thought. This is one of the hardest lessons for a character like Orhan, especially if he values loyalty and open brotherhood in a tribe. Opens create warmth in a too much openness create vulnerability. Orhan must learn to separate personal trust from strategic information. He may love someone deeply and still tell them the full plan. He may respect a warrior and still send him only on one part of the mission. This can create emotional friction, but it is necessary. A ruler who explains every move before making it gives the enemy too many doors. The counterattack should therefore begin quietly, not with drums, not with a drag speech, not with a wild charge into battle. It should begin with Orhan studying the enemy habit. Where do they feel safe? Which messenger route do not trust? Which ally do they underestimate? Which pair they have been using repeatedly? What do they believe about Orhan response personality? The best contract is built from the enemy expectation. If they believe Orhan impulsive, he can use patience to divide him. If they believe he is emotionally wounded, he can let them think he is weaker than he is. If they believe the betrayal has damaged his camp, he can hide his resorted united the perfect movement. This creates an excellent dramatic structure. The audience may immediately wonder why Orhan is not moving faster. Some character may question him. The enemy may celebrate thinking their plan has worked, but slowly small details reveal that Orhan is not inept. He is setting pieces in motion. A scout disappears into the mountain. A loyal warrior is sent away under a false reason. A merchant road is quietly watched. A message is allowed to leak, but it contains bait. Orhan is no longer the prey inside the trap. He is building a trap around the hunter. This is the kind of development that makes a historical drama satisfying. The hero does not simply win because he is stronger. He wins because he learned. Every wound from the previous section becomes useful. The attack, her reputation teaches him how perceptions work. The betrayal inside his circle teaches him how information moves. The enemy arrogance teaches him where they are blind. Oran countercapable should be born from these lessons. That way the story feels connected rather than random. The emotional power of come from restraint. Viewers often expect revenge to look explosive, but the most satisfying revenge can be quiet until the final moment. Oran may allow the enemy to believe he is walking into the plan. He may appear to make the same mistake they expect from him. He may send a visible force to one place while the real move happen elsewhere. He may even allow a controlled might lose to create a greater victory. This kind of strategy shows that he is beginning to think beyond pride. A key scenes could involve Orhan standing before his warriors and refusing to give them the emotional speech they expect. Instead of promising immediate blood, he tells them the anger he already caused them enough. He tells them that the enemy wants them blind, so then will answer with sight. He tells them that a sword drawn too early shines for the enemy as much as for the warrior. This type of line gives him maturity. He is not claiming them because he fears war. He is claiming them because he wants war on his own terms. This contract can also reveal who truly adopt. After the betrayal, some warriors may struggle with Orhan's new method. They may want the old clarity of direct battle. They may feel that trap the deception belong to the enemy, not to them. Orhan must explaining through action, if not through long speech. That strategy is not dishonor. There is no dishonor in protecting your phone with intelligence. This is no shame in making the enemy fall into the hole they dug. Courage without wisdom becomes waste. With wisdom without courage becomes courteous. Quran must unite both. This is a powerful theme for the section The Birth of a Ruler happen. When courage and calculation stop fighting each other, earlier Orhan may have learned more heavily on courage. His heart moved before his mind finished meaning the road. Now he is learning that courage must be guided. A horse with strength but no reins can crash into a cliff. A leader with bravery with no strategy can lead loyal men into unnecessary graves. Orhan contract should show that he now holds the rein. The enemy response should move from confidence to confusion. At first they believe everything is going as planned. They hear that Orhan is planned. They hear that his council is divided. They hear that his people are still recovering from betrayal. They think his silence means uncertainty, but then their own messenger disappears, a supply route fails, a miner only refuses to arrive, a precious they expected to use it more. Before they can act, suddenly the enemy realized that Orhan's silence was not weakness, it was preparation. This reversal is important because it changed the emotional balance of story. For survivor episode, Orhan may have been under pressure, forced to respond to trap. Now the enemy tastes uncertainly. They begin to suspect each other. They begin to ask how Orhan knew. They begin to make rushed decisions. They make poison they try to pour into Orhan can begin spreading among them. This is poetic justice. A strong contract does not only respect the enemy soldiers, it makes the enemy experience their own method. Orhan can exploit this by sending controlled misinformation. He knows the enemy relies on spies and whisper, so he feeds them a story they want to believe. This is a clever technique because people are easiest to deceive when the lie confirms their pride. If the enemy believe Orhan is emotionally broken, they will accept sign of weakness too quickly. If they believe the tribe is divided, they will believe false reports of decision. Orhan does not need to invent an unbelievable lie. He only needs to give their arguments a shape. The kind of writing makes the villain side more dynamic. They are not foolish, but they become overconfident because earlier success has made them careless. They think they understand the division of Orhan who exiled before betrayal, before the attack on his name, before the painful lesson. They do not understand the Orhan who has emerged from those five. This is a strong dramatic idea. The enemy prepared for the old Orhan, but the new Orhan arrives. The contract should build toward a major confrontation, but not necessarily a final battle yet. Since Section 5 can carry the road toward the final storm, Section 4 should be about Orhan taking back initiative. He exposed a network, capture an important enemy agent, breaks a hidden alliances, or servant a strategic location without giving the enemy the battle they wanted. Their victory should be intelligence, not only physical. It should prove that the can now protect the dream through planning. A powerful moment could show Oran confronting an enemy commander who expected to see panic in him. The commander tried to provoke him with insult, perhaps invoking Osman Bey name of claiming that Orhan is only a shadow. But Orhan does not explode. He simply revealed that the commander's entire operation has already failed. One by one he wrote, blocked the spices, captured the false messages, planted, and the allies turned away. The commander realized too late that the conversation itself was only the final piece. Orhan did not come to negotiate. He came to let the enemy understand defeat. This kind of scene gives the audience a understand kind of satisfaction. It is not the satisfaction of seeing a sword strike. It is a satisfaction of watching arguments collapse. The enemy wanted to make Orhan doubt himself. Now he makes them everything they thought their control. This is the birth of authority, not just winning but making the enemy understand why they lost. However, the story should not make Orhan cruel without reason. His contract must remain connected to justice. If he captured traitors, he should punish them according to the weight of their crime, not out of uncontrolled rage. If he defeat enemies, he should know the difference between unnecessary forces and needless brutality. This matters because the series is not only about power, it is about the moral claim to leadership. Orhan must be strong enough to scare enemies but just enough to hold the loyalty of his people. A ruler who wins through cruelty may survive for a while, but he creates fear instead of devotion. A ruler who refuses to pushes evil create choice instead of mercury. Orhan must stand between that these extreme the countable he must change to show that his justice he has teeth. He can forgive mistake that come from fear but not betrayal that dangerous the people. He can accept disagreement but not secret service to the enemy. He can show mercy to the helpless but not weakness toward those weaponize mercury. This moral balance is what separates his from his enemies. The villain may use every tool without limit lies, hostage, betrayal, fear and humiliation. Orhan can use tragedy, skill, secretly and escapation in war, but he must not lose the soul of his cause. This is a suitable but important distinction. The audience must feel that Orhan is becoming sharper, no corrupted. He claims the enemy game, but that does not become the enemy. There should also be emotional consequence within his own circle. Some people may be impressed by his new strategy. Others may feel uneasy because they no longer fully understand him. This is realistic. Why a leader change quickly? Even loyal followers need time to adjust. Someone close to Orhan may ask whether he is hiding too much. Orhan may answer that the time have changed and it's remained the same. More people will die. This kind of change should the cost of leadership growth. Becoming stronger can also mean becoming harder to reach. The contract can include a moment where Orhan uses an unexpected ally, perhaps someone preciously doubt become essential, perhaps a rebel bay. Instead of being threat and a permanent enemy is used carefully against a greater threat. This would show political maturity. A young man divides the world into friends and enemies too quickly. A ruler understands intense timing and necessity. Not every rival must be destroyed immediately. Some can be contained, some can be used, some can become temporary bridge. This does not mean Orhan become manipulative in a dishonorable scene. It means he understands that leadership is not personal, emotional deserve as policy. If a rival can help save the people, Orhan must be wise enough to dare the opportunity without becoming blind to future danger. This is statecraft that one Krulus Orhan no feel like the beginning of a new political era. This kind of statecraft is necessary. Another strong element would be the use of geography. Historical drama become more cinematic when the land itself matters. Mountain, rivers, crossing, castle, roads, hidden valleys, winter paths, and trade routes should not just to be background. They should be part of strategy. Orhan may know the route the enemy underestimate. He may use local knowledge against foreign arguments. He may send a small force through difficult terrain while the enemy wait on the obvious road. This makes the contractable visually exacting and strategically believable. The section should gradually rise toward a victory that feels earns not a final victory but a decisive shift by the end. The enemy will not longer failed completely is control. Orhan should have taken something from them, their spy network, their confidence, their stage leverage, their supply route, or their false sense of superiority. The audience should feel revealed but also anticipation because one of the enemy is wounded. They become more dangerous. A conquered enemy may abandon subtlety and chooses distractions. This step up the next section perfectly. Orhan contract prove he is rising but is also force the enemy to make a deceptive move. If their hidden war fail, they may prepare open war. If their betrayal plan fail, they are attack the heart direct. If they can no longer control perception, they may try to create a tragedy so large that perception no longer matters. This is your final act. Escalate the villain stop playing with shadow and reaches for fire. Before closing section 4, the script should return the more emotional idea. Orhan is becoming a ruler, but not Orhan. Someone placed a title in his hand. He is becoming a ruler because pain has taught him to think differently. Betrayal taught him caution. Insult taught him restraint. Taught him timing. Responsibility taught him silence. Every wound became a lesson. Every lesson became a weapon, and now he is looked at the enemy. He no longer sees only danger, he sees opportunity. This is an important line of transformation. Earlier danger controlled him. Now the begin to control danger. That does not mean he is in fact the greater he becomes, the greater the great threat must become. Must the audience now believe he can face it? They have seen him move from reaction to strategy. They have seen him absorb pain without losing direction. They have seen him answer physiological war with physiological strength. This is how a protagonist earns the final confrontation. The final paragraph of section 4 should sound like the closing of a YouTube alias before moving into the next part. Orhan Bey contract is not only about defecting a plan, it is about announcing a new version of himself. The enemy tried to write the story at the story of the inexperienced here. Orhan has begun rewriting it as the story of leader forgot by betrayal. They tried to make him cast shadow. Now he has learned how he moved inside the shadow himself. They tried to turn his people against him. Now his people have seen that his silence can protect them better than empty shouting. And this is why the final road becomes more exciting, because once Orhan takes back initiative, the enemy must inherit threat or risk everything in a normal story. They might recreate, but in a final stretch, enemies rarely choose caution, they choose one last massive move. They gather their force, burn their bridge, and they are preparing a strike that will either destroy Oran or expose their own desperation. That is where the story must go next. Orhan has survived the next attack on his name. He has cut the betrayal from inside his circle. He has turned patience into a weapon and silence into a trap. Now the world around him began to understand that the son of Osman Bey is not only carrying his legacy, he is learned how to command, and when a man reaches the point, the enemies of are facing terrifying truth. They are not longer fighting a young bear trying to prove himself. They are fighting a ruler is the first moment of his awakening. The road of the final war after Orhan Obey contract the story event a darker and more dangerous stage. The enemy has been exposed but only destroyed. Their confidence has been shaken, but their heart rate has not disappeared. In fact, this is when they become most dangerous. A conflict enemy can be arrogant, a wounded enemy can be reckless, and a reckless enemy, especially one standing closing to defeat, may choose destruction over survival. This is why the road after Orhan, a first major strategic victory, must feel heavier than everything before it. The road to the final war should not begin with celebration, it should begin with silence. The camp has survived betrayal. Orhan has taken back the rhythm of the conflict. The enemy has lost part of its hidden power, but victory has no brought peace. Instead, it has revealed the size of the coming storm. People can feel it. The air is different. Warriors sharpen their sword without speaking much. Horses are prepared earlier than unusual. Mother look at sons with no longer eyes. The old man understands that the next battle may not be like the other. It may be does not only who wins a field, but who control the future. This is the emotional atmosphere. Orhan himself should not trust toward war like a seeking glory. That would make him look immature again. Instead, he should understand that war is sometimes necessary, but never light. A ruler who enjoys war too easily is dangerous. A ruler who fears war so much that like allow injustice to grow the also dangerous. Orhan must stand between those extremes. He must be willing to fight but aware of the price. He may prepare for victory but carry that is him before they fall. This gives his leadership moral depth. The enemy, meanwhile, should prepare a final plan that is both military and symbolic. They should not simply want to kill Orhan, they want to speak the meaning of the rise. Perhaps they aim to attack a palace connect to Osman Bey legacy. Perhaps they want to capture someone whose loss would shake the tribe. Perhaps they want to force Orhan into choosing between saving family and saving the strategic figure. The final war becomes stronger than the battlefield carries emotional meaning. A fight over random land in action, a fight over memory, future, and identity in drama. This is where the script can introduce the idea that the enemy has finally understood something. Orhan cannot be destroyed through simple trick anymore. His name survived the attack. He survived betrayal. Her mind survived manipulation. So now the enemy must try to create a want to lager for strategy to contain. They must create choice, fear, and grief on such a scale that even a strong leader struggle to hold the people together. This is believable escalation when subtle war fails. The enemy chooses terror. Orhan must sense this. He may not know the exact from the attack, but he understands the enemy emotional state. He knows they are wounded. He knows wounded enemies seek dramatic revenge. He knows that after losing the return game, they may try to force an open confrontation between the become even stronger. Therefore, allows Orhan to prepare, but preparation does not remove danger. It is only give him a chance. A powerful scenes could show Orhan walking through the camp before his final preparation are announced. He sees black myth working late. He sees children sleeping beside warrior mother. He sees warrior pretending not to fear death. He sees the ordinary life but war are threatened. This moment is important because it reminds viewers what Orhan is fighting for. He is not fighting for personal pride. He is not fighting to prove his masculinity. He is fighting so that ordinary people can live without kneeling before those who use fear as law. This is the soul of the story. Historical drama become empty if they forgot the people, castle, flag, throne, and title matters, but they matter because people live under them. Oral leadership must be connected to the protection of life, justice, and dignity. When they prepare for war, he or the audience must understand that he is not chasing legend. He is carrying responsibility. The legend will come later. The first come the burden. The board to the final war should also include reconciliation before great battle. Unresolved emotional conflict becomes sharper. Someone who argued with Orhan may come to him quietly and admit he's misunderstood. A warrior who doubts him may ask permission to ride in the front line. A family member may warn him not to bury his heart completely under duty. Someone wounded by the betrayal may struggle to trust again. These signs matter because they give emotional closure before the action begins. One especially strong moment could be a conversation between Orhan and a person who know Osman Bey well. This character can remind him that Osman Bey was not great because he never suffered doubt. He continued despite it. This helped break the myth that great leaders are born complete. Quran need to hear and the audience need to feel that greatness is not the absence of fear or uncertainty, it is the discipline to move forward while carrying them. This makes Orhan rise more human. Orhan may respond that everyone remember the victory, but few speak of the night before those victories. This line would fit the current stage. He is live those night now, the night before decision, the night before possible lose, the night before history chooses whether to open a road or close it. The understand his father more deeply now, not because someone told him stories, not because he has begun to state the same long lines. This emotional connection to Osman Bey should be handled carefully. The story should honor the legacy without trapping Orhan under it. The point is not for Orhan to become a copy. The point is for to understand the cost behind the legacy and the continue. The point is not for Orhan become a copy. This point is from understand the cost behind the legacy and the conflict. Continue it an own way. This make the father-son legacy powerful rather than repetitive. Osman Bey built the dream through one set of struggle. Orhan must protect and expand it through another. The final war roll also gives the writers a chance to show Orhan's political vision before battle. He may speak not only of defeating the enemy but of what come after. This is important. Many leaders can gather men for revenge. Fewer can gather them for a future. Orhan should make it clearly that victory is not the end goal. Victory is the door. Behind it must come order, justice, security, and expansion. If they win only to return to the same cycle of trap and retaliation, then nothing has been built. If they win and use that victory of strength, the foundation, then the blood has meaning. This is where Clueless Orhan can separate itself. Simple war drama. The audience should see a state beginning to from inside Orhan's mind. He think about broadcaster alliances, the protection of trials, trade in treatments of Persian loyalty of pair on the future of the road. These details do not need to become boring expositions. They can appear through dialogue and decision. A ruler is not meaning only by how he fight enemies but by what he built after enemies fall. Meanwhile, the enemy final plan can unfold in unparalleled. They gather forces but also spread final lies. They try to convince nearby power that Orhan is unstable. They threaten smaller allies into maturity. They prepare can ambush but also a diplomatic trap. This layer enemy strategy. They threaten smaller allies into neutrality. They prepare an ambush but also a diplomatic trap. This layer empty strategy keep the final war from feeling like a simple clash of armies. It remains political until the sword meet. The best historical battles are on before they begin, through alliances, trimming, information, and moral. Orhan must therefore fight on multiple fronts at once. He must secure his camp, strength alliances, manage fear, prepare soldiers, protect civilians, and confuse the enemy. This shows the full burden of leadership. A warrior prepare the weapon, a ruler prepare a word. That lines can become a central narration point. Oran's greatness is no longer judged only by his bravery in combat. It is judged by how many dangers he can hold in his mind without losing clarity. There should also be a moment where Oran refuses an easy but dishonorable path. Prepare. He is offered a chance to win quickly by sacrificing innocent, abandoning an ally, or breaking a promises. The temptation may be practical. Some around him may argue that survival required hard choice. Oran can accept hard choices but not corruption, disuse, and necessity. This is important because the audience must see that his rise has a moral boundary. He is becoming strategic, but he has not lost his soul. This refuse can cost him a moral choice. Should not be easy. If Orhan refuses a dishonorable shortcut, the enemy may gain time. Some worries may question him. A rival may call him naive, but later that some moral choices can become the reason people chooses to stand with him. Trust is built when people see that a leader does not sell Principle under pressure, fear can force obedience, but justice creates loyalty. Orhan needs loyalty for the future he is building. The final war road should also bring one major sacrifice close to the surface. It does not necessarily have to be death, but there must be sense. There something beloved may be lost. A character may volunteer for a dangerous mission knowing that they not return. A relationship must may be left unresolved because duty interrupt emotional. A promise may be made under the shadow of possible farewell. These moments give the coming battle emotional stake without personal cost. War becomes spectacle. With personal cost, every sword being carrying feeling, the audience should feel that Orhan is surrounded by people who have their own fear and dream. The warrior riding beside him is not just a backward fighter. He may be a father, a brother, a son, a man who wants to see spring again. The woman waiting in camp is not just waiting, she is holding the emotional world together while men ride into uncertainty. The elder is not just advising, he is watching another generation walk toward fire. This layer humanity make the final may more powerful. As the enemy moves closer, Orhan can make one final internal decision. Until now, part of him may still have been trying to prove himself to the tribe, to enemy to his father, enemies to history. But the road to final war, he must let go to the need to the prove and embarrass. The duty to let this is a suitable but major transformation. A man who wants to prove himself can be manipulated through pride. A man who has accepted his duty becomes harder to control. Orhan no longer fights to show that he is worthy, he fights because the people he needs to be worthy whether he feels ready or not. This is leadership, not waiting until doubt disappears, not waiting until every voice approves, not waiting until the road is clear. Leadership after our revival. This is important line of transmission. Earlier danger controlled, now the expose. The final war road should also bring one major sacrifice close to the surface. It does not necessarily have to be death, but there must be a sense that something belong may be lost. A character may wander for a dangerous mission knowing at that they not return. A relationship not be left unresolved because duty interrupt emotional. A promise may be made under the shadow of possible farewell. These moments give the giving coming battle emotional stake without personal cost. War become spectacle with personal cost. Every sword swing carries feeling. The audience should feel that Orhan is surrounded by people who love their who to fear the dream. The warrior riding beside him is not just a background fighter. He may be a father, a brother, a son, a man want to see spring again. The woman waiting in the camp is not just waiting, she is holding the emotional world together. The man is right into uncertainty. The elder is not just advising, he is watching another generation walk toward fight. This layered humanity make the final war more powerful. As the enemy move closer, Orhan can make one final internal decision. Until now, part of him may still have been trying to prove himself to the tribe, the enemies to his father, enemy to history. But the road, the final war, he must let to go, need to prove and embarrass the duty the lad. This is a subtle but major transformation. A man who wants to prove himself can be manipulated through pride. A man who can accept his duty become harder to control. Orhan no longer fight to show that the worthy, he fight because the people need him to the worthy, whether he feels ready or not. This is a leadership